Hello everyone and welcome to a deck tech for Green Red or GR. I don't know, I just have named the deck GR. But this is basically Green Red Ramp, which is a deck that I've been working on for about a week and a half now. And unfortunately this deck won the SCG Open last weekend, and there were a couple two devotion decks in the top 8 of the Open and two devotion decks in the top 8 of the Grand Prix, which is really unfortunate because I've been working on this deck and I thought I had a really good thing going, and now everyone knows about it. So, it definitely doesn't have the same allure in that regard. But I still like the deck even as a known quantity. And, excuse me. And I'm still working on it. So, yeah, here it is. I'm going to talk about some of the cards and why I think it's a great deck. And why I have a lot of these card choices that I have. So, first of all, I think this deck is a great deck because it really just goes over the top of all the random decks in the format, like Abzan, Jeskai, and Red White. This deck just goes over the top and just kind of steamrolls those decks. And against things like control decks, maybe it's a little bit more difficult to win, but you still have a lot of tools, and the red splash gives you access to things like Xenaghost the Reveler, which actually really improves your matchup against control decks a lot. So I do really like a lot of the things that this deck has going for it, and I think that it is a very powerful deck. I've been able to do some extremely gross things with this deck, and I think that it's hard to explain just how powerful this deck is. But for example, I got to go on turn 4. I went turn 2 Voyaging or turn 2 Sylvan Caryatid, turn 3 Frontier Siege, second main phase Voyaging Satyr. And then on turn 4 against my Jeskai Ascendancy opponent, I went Courser Crufix, Courser Crufix, Genesis Hydra for 10 Finding Ugin, kill your guy. I mean, that's just absurd, and that happened on turn 4. This deck is capable of some absolutely busted things, and it's actually pretty consistent at being able to do those kinds of things, and it has Whisperwood Elemental, which is just such a powerful threat against almost every single deck in the format. And then it has Hornet Queen, which goes over the top of all the aggressive decks. And in matchups where you don't care about going over the top, like where Hornet Queen's not that good, you're just gonna grind them out with Genesis Hydra, Whisperwood, Xenaghost, Pelucranos. You have all these cards that just generate advantage that you can just grind people out with. So this deck's just really very good at grinding people out or stabilizing against aggressive decks, thanks to like Whisperwood, Pelucranos, and Hornet Queen. And this deck is able to generate just gross amounts of mana where I've been monstersing Pelucranos for like 30. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, not 30 mana. Like, I've been monstersing Pelucranos for 30. Just really gross things happen when you combine Xenaghost, Frontier Siege, Nykthos, and Voyaging Satyr. So, talk about some of the card choices here. We have 23 lands, which with 11 mana guys, I think 23 is right. If I want to cut a mana guy, I want to add a 24th land, but for now, I'm happy with 2311. I could see 2312 as well at some point. We have 4 Genesis Hydra, which I've waffled on the numbers of Genesis Hydra a bunch, but I'm pretty certain that 4 is the right amount because it really just does some busted things, and it's just one of the best cards in the deck once you get going, and it's very easy to get going. So I really like having access to Genesis Hydra. 4 Coursers are pretty self-explanatory in these kinds of decks. Same with 4 Pelucranos. I toyed with 3 at one point, but it was a mistake. Pelucranos is just so good in this deck that I would not dream of cutting any. Now here's where I have a little bit of contention with other lists where I have 4 Frontier Siege and 3 Xenagos. I have an absurd amount of ramp here at my 4-drop slot, and maybe this is wrong, but I've really been liking both of these cards a lot. Xenagos can generate absurd amounts of mana when you are starting to flood the board, especially in combination with Whisperwood Elemental. With a Xenagos and a Whisperwood, you're making 2 creatures a turn. Then when you draw your Pelucranos, you can plus the Xenagos, play it, use Nykthos and Voyaging Satyr, etc. Monstrous for a million, kill your opponent's entire board. And Whisperwood also, I'll get to that in a second, but Whisperwood also helps facilitate that as well. And then Frontier Siege lets us do busted things like the start that I was telling you about, where you use an early Frontier Siege to ramp you into some really busted things. And I like that Frontier Siege lets you do things like Pelucranos main phase 1, Whisperwood main phase 2, things that you can't do without having access to Siege. So there are a lot of benefits of having Frontier Siege in your deck. I'm not sure that the benefits are outweigh the cost, where it is a dead card in certain parts of the game and things like that. But I do, for now, have really enjoyed having access to the card. And then Whisperwood Elemental is really the focal point of the deck. It's really what makes it work because this lets you grind through so many different board states. And one of the things about this deck is our creatures are actually, generally speaking, pretty good with Whisperwood. So if you find another Whisperwood off of your first one, that's absurd. If you find a Pelucranos off your Whisperwood, that's insane. If you find a Courser, that's bananas. I don't know. I was struggling to come up with another word, synonym for absurd or insane. But basically, there are a lot of good creatures in this deck to manifest with. So there are a lot of board states you get into with this deck where you have like a Whisperwood or two Whisperwoods going, and your opponent can never attack you because your board's just too big. You maybe have Xenagos making satyrs every turn, but you can't really attack your opponent either because they have like two Siege Rhinos and two Coursers and a bunch of Fleece Mains and an Elspeth or whatever, and that you just can't attack your opponent's board, but you're just waiting to find Pelucranos to wrath their entire board because you have access to so much mana. And Whisperwood giving you basically three cards a turn to find Pelucranos because you get to, if you manifest a Pelucranos, it's the same as drawing one basically. So that comes up a lot. The card's phenomenal. And then Hornet Queen is really insane in the deck, and I wouldn't dream of playing less than 3. In fact, 4 probably is the right number because Hornet Queen lets you go over the top of all these decks like Red White or Jeskai or things like that, where you have to have access to a card like this to be able to beat those decks. Otherwise, you probably just can't beat them. So I really like access to the Queen. But yeah, that's the main deck. I like it a lot. There are a number of ways you can tinker with it, but for now I've been very happy with the way it's built. I'm gonna look at the sideboard here. So here we have 3 Arc Lightnings and 3 Nylea's Disciples. This is like our anti-aggro package. Both are very good at what they do. This kills Hordling Outburst and Rabble Master. That's the main reason to play Arc Lightning. And then Nylea's Disciple is some much needed life gain in those matchups. 3 Nisses as Xenagos, those are for control decks where we need to supplement we need more planeswalkers basically to be able to beat them. And then I have a Shamanic Revelation in my sideboard, which I've liked the card a lot. A number of other people who've been playing the deck don't like it that much, but it's basically there for Abzan or Sultai. These like kind of grindy mid-range decks. Shamanic Revelation is really good against them because the board tends to flood. You have 3 mana dorks and a Whisperwood or whatever, but you can't really make headway, and then a Shamanic just really pulls you ahead. I have a Singular Crater's Claws. It's for the mirror and for control decks where sometimes you need to really you just need to like fireball them for the win if you have nothing better to do, or you can actually kill like their Pelucranoses or things like that, or their Whisperwood, or whatever would snowball them out of control as well. And then I have 3 Ugins, which Ugin is my anti-ramp card because this deck can lose to other ramp decks, and you need some way to go over the top of them, and Ugin's that answer. Hornet Queen's not that great because a big Pelucranos actually kills an entire Hornet Queen by itself. So Ugin is really the way to go over other ramp decks. And it's very good in combination with Whisperwood Elemental as well because it doesn't kill your own manifest tokens. So you can play Ugin and -5 or minus whatever it takes to kill every creature on their board, and you're going to lose your entire board too. But you do get to keep 2. You do get to keep your manifest tokens behind, and often that's good enough to win the game. And usually you can just -4 as well and keep your Whisperwood as well. So Ugin's really the anti-ramp card, but it's also good in a couple other matchups too, like Jeskai Ascendancy tokens or things of that style. Sometimes it's actually good against some control decks too. It's actually good against blue-white control because they have Banishing Lights and Elspeths. And Ugin -0 deals with Elspeth tokens. Ugin can plus to kill Elspeth, or -6 if you're desperate. Ugin can also -3 and get Oblivion Rings, Banishing Lights, and get back your guys. So Ugin's pretty sweet in that matchup too. But all in all, this is the green-red ramp deck. It's a deck that I've been working on and probably will continue to work on because I really enjoy it. It is a blast to play. You get to do some dirty things with this deck and it's a lot of fun. And it's also just really powerful, which I love decks that are fun and powerful, and this is right up my alley. So I've been having a delight delightful time playing this deck, and I look forward to playing more with it. So hopefully you guys will stick around, watch the videos, and enjoy the matches that I have. And let me know in the comments anything you like or don't like about the way the deck is built, or the videos themselves. I always read those, and I'm always happy to consider feedback one way or another, especially constructive feedback. In fact, a lot of times comments from my articles and videos have actually led to discoveries that have helped me do well in tournaments. So I really do read them and appreciate them. And I thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you'll stick around and watch what I have in store for these 4 rounds.